Commissioner Smith Atkins.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Commissioner, I forgot her name.
Vice Chair Harriman, I'm unmuted now, so I can take the roll call if you'd like.
Okay, would you please do that? And then it won't make me look so dumb.
Yes, no
Thank-
worries. So I'm going to start from the beginning.
Okay.
Commissioner Cook Askins,
Present?
Commissioner Messin,
Present.
Commissioner Thomas,
Present.
Vice Chair Harriman,
Here.
and I believe Chair Kurth is absent today. So we have quorum.
Okay, thank you. And now we'll have the invocation by Commissioner Thomas.
Father God, we come to you today, thanking you for just blessing us, Father. We ask that you be in our midst as we conduct the business of the city today. Father, guide our decisions and help us to make the right decisions for the benefit of our city. Father, we ask your blessings on the entire community of city of Victorville and all its citizens and our leadership here in the city of Victorville. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Okay, I'll lead the pledge. Hand over your heart and ready to begin. Okay. First off, the Planning Commission is interested in hearing from the public. Individuals from the public may speak on agenda items or on issues not posted on the agenda during this public section, comment section, providing those issues are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. Individual speakers may address the Planning Commission once per comment period and once per each public hearing item for up to 3 minutes. If you would like to comment on a public hearing item, please click the raise your hand feature located on the Zoom screen. Once comments are invited, the speaker will be called on by name, then recognized by the city clerk to be unmuted. Your understanding and cooperation are appreciated. I guess next would be conduct of Planning Commission meetings pursuant to AB 361. Can you read the recommendation?
Certainly, Vice Chair Harriman. I believe your planning secretary, Scott Webb, has just joined, and I'll probably provide you additional information prior to me reading the recommendation. Scott, are you online now?
I am online. Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. Item number 1 is a finding the Planning Commission shall make if we are going to conduct meetings solely via Zoom over the next 30-day period. Since you made this finding at your last meeting on January 12th, your last finding is still active. Given that we expect to have City Hall back open to the public within the next 30 days, we do not recommend that you take this action at this time. However, if something does come up at a future meeting where we need to make this finding, we will bring this staff report and recommendation back to you. So with that, Commissioner staff recommends that you move on to the regular public comment period without making the finding pursuant to AB 361.
Okay, so we don't need to take a vote on that.
Yes, it's not advised at this point, given that we expect to be back in person, or at least conducting meetings via person and Zoom at our next Planning Commission meeting.
Okay, Scott, thank you. Next will be the approval of minutes. And we read the recommendation.
Commissioner, Chairman Harriman, I believe we should, on the agenda index, public comment period for items that are not on the agenda, but are of interest of the Planning Commission, is next on the agenda before the approval of minutes.
Okay, I think I read it in the wrong order. Okay, the Planning Commission is interested in hearing from the public. Individuals from the public may speak on agenda items or on issues not posted on the agenda during the public comment section, providing those issues are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. Individual speakers may address the Planning Commission once per comment period and once per public hearing item for up to 3 minutes. If you would like to comment on a public hearing item, please click the raise your hand feature located on the Zoom screen. Once comments are invited, the speaker will be called on by name, then recognized by the city clerk to be unmuted. Your understanding and cooperation are appreciated.
Vice Chair Harriman, I currently do not have any speakers via Zoom.
Okay, so we'll move on to item number 2, minutes of January 12th, regular Planning Commission meeting. Read the recommendation.
Sure. That the Planning Commission approve the minutes of the regular Planning Commission meeting held on January 12th, 2022.
I, Commissioner Thomas, move that the minutes of January 12th, regular Planning Commission meeting be approved.
And Commissioner Cook Askins, second.
Take a roll call vote. Commissioner Cook Askins,
Aye.
Commissioner Messin,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Herman.
Aye.
Motion passes with Chair Kurth being absent.
Okay, item number 3 is a vesting tentative tract map with a proposed mitigated negative declaration to allow for the recordation and development of a 194 lot single family residential subdivision. The location would be the southeast corner of Olivine Road and Monte Vista Road. Would you read the recommendation?
Certainly. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, receive testimony regarding the proposed project, and take the following actions. Environmental assessment, adopt the attached mitigated negative declaration with a mitigative monitoring and reporting program for the project, and tentative tract map, adopt resolution number P-22-008, approving vesting tentative tract map case number PLAN 18-00039, subject to the attached conditions of approval.
Okay, do we have any comments by the commissioners? We'll start with Commissioner Thomas.
I have a question. The vesting tentative tract map, is this a project that if we, as we vote tonight, we vote to move it forward, but would it come back to the Planning Commission before the permanent action is taken on this plan?
Sure, I can handle that question. Good evening, commissioners. When a tentative map is approved by the commission, that gives the project rights to move forward with final map recordation. So the approval is for 3 years. So that gives the developer time to finalize the design in accordance with what you see on the screen here that matches the vesting tentative map. And the final map is actually just a ministerial action that's taken by the city council when it records, and either liens or bonds are put in place to secure the improvements that fall within the public right of way. So this is actually the one time that the planning commission reviews the overall development. And then once the nuts and bolts of the project come through, those are handled by other entities such as staff or the city council when the map records. But with that, if the commission would like a brief overview, Senior Planner Alex Hadegi is on the line and can give overview for the public and the commission of the proposal tonight.
Yes.
Okay. You guys are going to really, I know I'm not pronouncing names right. So go ahead and chime in for the next speaker, next commissioner.
Yes, good evening, Vice Chair. It's Commissioner Cook Askins here. I had one question regarding the perimeter walls. I know it mentioned a graffiti coating. Is that the standard for all the perimeter walls, or is that something just specific to this project?
That is a standard condition.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next.
I don't have any questions for staff.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Messin. Did I cover everybody? 1, 2, 3. No, Rob's not here. I have one question. I noticed that the Inland Empire Bike Association really wrote a long comment or had quite a bit to say. Can you elaborate on that, Scott?
Yes, to better answer that question in full, we do have Senior Planner Alex Hadegi on the line. If he's available, he can give you an in-depth overview of their public comment.
Yes, thank you, Scott. Yes, comments were received from the Inland Empire Biking Alliance that discussed a couple things. They discussed, number one, the project's vehicle miles, VMT, vehicle miles traveled analysis, as well as roadway standard designs and speed limits. Regarding the standard designs and speed limits, their comments were asking for reduced speeds. They were asking for revised roadway standards in an effort to slow traffic and provide for, seems like improved circulation for bicyclists. After review of the comments by the city engineer, as well as the applicant's traffic engineer, they do not concur with the positions outlined by the Inland Empire Biking Alliance. A large reason of that is because the city standards are industry standard throughout many municipalities. They're city standard throughout the entire city. And the findings that were noted in the correspondence our city engineer was not in agreement with those. So based on those, the city does not, staff does not recommend any additional mitigation measures.
Okay. So do we have any other comments from commissioners?
Yes. I believe Scott offered to have Alex do kind of an overview, present an overview of this project. Can we still do that?
Yes, if that's what the commission would like, yes, Alex is prepared to give a brief overview of the entire project.
Sure. So as noted, it's a vesting tentative tract map that will allow for the development of 194 lot single family residential subdivision located at the southeast corner of Olivine Road and Monte Vista Road. This is right on the western boundary of the city, next to unincorporated San Bernardino County. The subject vesting tentative tract map is proposed in a single phase. It includes a design in accordance with the single family design guidelines, in as much as the tract incorporates curvilinear roadways, dual use drainage basins that are designed as entry features, as well as recreational amenities that are included in the drainage channel that traverses the site from north to south. It is a vesting tentative tract map, and what that means is that the map will only be subject to those development standards and requirements in effect at the time the proposal was approved or conditionally approved by the Planning Commission, if in fact that does happen. So an example of that would be right now the city standard lot size is 7,200 square feet. If in a year or two the city decided to make that 10,000 or 8,000, this tract would still be permitted to record with 7,200 square foot lots. So it's locked into those development standards that are in effect at this time. Additionally, it meets all the standard requirements of the municipal code as conditioned with regards to minimum lot sizes, lot dimensions, and density, as well as a single family design guidelines with the design features noted. And additionally, lastly, the city did prepare an initial study. I'm sorry, the applicant's environmental consultant prepared an initial study and mitigated negative declaration that was routed through the state clearinghouse. And all proposed mitigation measures have been included within the conditions of approval, which address biological resources, cultural and tribal cultural resources, greenhouse gases, hydrology and water, and transportation.
Okay, thanks for that. Did anybody else have any comments? Commissioner Cook Askins?
I have no further comments.
Okay, and Commissioner Messon, and I apologize, Mrs. Messon, for forgetting your name.
No worries. I just wanted to know if we're also gonna have any, the investors gonna be giving us an overview as well. I don't know if they're on the line.
Yes.
The developer, if they're gonna be providing us with any information as well or anything else.
Yes, I can answer that question. So we do have Bo Cooper from United Engineering. He has his hand raised. So once Vice Chair Harriman opens up the public comment period, he'll be able to address the commission.
Okay, great. That's all for me.
Okay, with that, we'll do that. Let's open up the public comments, and first is Bo. I hope I said that right. Bo Cooper.
Actually, Vice Chair Harriman, can you please open the public hearing itself too before you open public comment?
Okay. I'd like to open the public comment period. And are there any public commenters out there?
Yes, Bo Cooper.
Evening, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good evening, this is Bo Cooper. I am the entitlement manager with United Engineering Group, here representing the property owner and the applicant for tentative map 20188. We have read through the conditions of approval. As Alex has stated, we have no objections to those conditions. I didn't really have any additional information or overview prepared for Commissioner Messon, but I can definitely answer any particular questions any of you may have.
Okay, are there any other comments?
I have no additional speakers.
Okay, with that, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Cooper? Okay, with that, I think we're ready to take a vote.
Can you please close the public hearing?
I'm sorry. Okay, with that, let's close the public hearing. And commissioners take a vote. Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
We'll need a first and a second, please.
I move to approve the recommendation of staff on item number 3.
Do we have a second?
I second.
So I have a first by Commissioner Thomas, a second by Commissioner Messin. I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Cook Askins,
Aye.
Commissioner Messin,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Herman.
aye.
Motion passes with Chair Kurth being absent.
Okay, item number 4. Item number 4 is a site plan with a mitigated negative declaration to allow for the development of a 212-unit multifamily apartment complex and a general plan amendment from commercial to high-density residential and a zone change, from C2 general commercial to R4 very high-density residential on 2 acres of the proposed 12-acre site. Can you read the recommendation, please?
Sure. Can we open the public hearing first and then I'll read the recommendation?
Open the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, I open the public hearing.
Staff recommends that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, receive testimony regarding the proposed project, and take the following actions. The environmental assessment recommend that the City Council adopt the attached mitigated negative declaration with a mitigated monitoring and reporting program for the project. General plan amendment, adopt resolution number P22-010, recommending City Council approval for the general plan amendment portion of case number PLAN 20-000009. Zone change, adopt resolution number P-22-011, recommending City Council approval of the zone change portion of case number PLAN 20-00009. And site plan, adopt resolution number P-22-012, recommending City Council approval of the site plan portion of case number PLAN 20-00009, subject to the attached conditions of approval.
Thank you. And Chairman Harriman, if I might, I could give a brief overview of this project before we get into further discussion.
Okay.
All right, so this project's located on the southeast corner of Balsam Road and the logical extension of Winona Street. As you see here, this project includes 3-story developments. There's a total of 10 3-story units, as you see here, and also 1 2-story apartment building. This is spread across 12 acres. With a density of 19 units per acre. This also includes plenty of recreational amenities with a main clubhouse and pool complex. As mentioned in the description and the recommendation, this does include a general plan amendment and zone change. As you see in the aerial here, that southern notch that's closest to Nisqually Road is currently zoned for commercial uses. So with this proposal, the applicant's requesting the allowance to change that to a high density residential, which is R4. So with that, staff finds that it meets all development standards of the R4 district and recommends that the Planning Commission move this project forward to the City Council.
Okay, with that, I guess we'll take comments or questions from commissioners. And we'll start this time with Commissioner Cook Haskins.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I think this ties nicely into the regional housing needs assessment, and I'm all for it. Thank you.
Commissioner Messin?
I just wanted to know if the extension of Winella Street is just gonna go straight across, correct? Because I believe it stops at the apartments that are located right next door. So it'd just be continuing it to connect into Folsom.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
And Commissioner Thomas?
No questions.
Okay, and I also have no questions. So do I open it again for comment, public comment, or are we ready to take a vote?
Actually, you leave it open and we'll look for if there's any members of the public that are wishing to speak on the item. I have no members of the public with their hands raised, so you can close the public hearing and bring the item back to the commission.
Okay, so I close the public hearing and I'll bring it to the commissioners for a vote. And Commissioner Thomas?
Can we please take a first?
Oh, you know what? I think I'm doing your job, Mrs. Thompson, aren't I?
Actually, you're supposed to call for a first, but it's okay. Can I get a first on the motion?
I move that the item number 4, I move to approve the recommendation of staff on item number 4.
Hi,
Do we
Commissioner
have a
Cook.
second?
Hi, Commissioner Cook Askins, second.
We have a first by Commissioner Thomas, a second by Commissioner Cook Askins. I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Askins,
Aye.
Commissioner Messin,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Harriman.
Aye.
Motion passes with Chair Kurth being absent.
Okay, we move on to item number 5.
Yes, Chairman Harriman, we do have Senior Planner Alex Hallegy with a brief presentation. He could take it over from here.
Thank you. Agenda item number 5 is planning case number PLAN 21-00032. It is a site plan with a initial study and a proposed mitigated negative declaration to allow for the development of a multi-tenant shopping center with 2 major tenants, 4 pad tenants, and shop tenants totaling approximately 98,000 square feet on property zone C2, general commercial, located at the southeast corner of Bear Valley Road and Amethyst Road, which is the last undeveloped corner at the noted intersection. The applicant is seeking approval of the site plan to allow for this multi-tenant shopping center that includes 7 separate commercial buildings that will accommodate retail, restaurant, and office uses. The proposal will include 2 separate major tenants to anchor the development, as well as pad and shop tenants along the perimeter of the site that include drive-through service and multi-tenant storefronts. The proposal is phased. The phase development, phase 1 will include the major A, as well as all roadway improvements, driveway improvements, and the majority of the parking field, with the remainder of the site developing in phase 2 or as future tenants are confirmed. As conditioned, the proposal complies with all typical development standards, including off-street parking, setbacks, building height, and landscaping. Additionally, in conjunction with development occurring on site, if approved, the applicant will be required to adjust existing lot lines to meet building code standards and prepare a master sign program to provide a unified sign theme throughout the site. Environmentally, this project, their consultant prepared an initial study and mitigated negative declaration, which was routed in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act standards, which resulted in mitigation measures for air quality, biological resources, cultural and tribal resources, geology and soils, hydrology and water, noise, and public services. As a result of that CEQA review through the State Clearinghouse, the city again received comments from the Inland Empire Biking Alliance. These comments again addressed vehicle miles traveled analysis, as well as the city's roadway standard designs and speed limits with respect to the size of bike lanes that is our city standard on that roadway in our master bike plan. After review of the comments provided, the city engineer and the applicant's consultants do not concur with the allegations and recommendations provided, and staff does not recommend any additional mitigation measures as it relates to that topic. The The full text of that discussion by the city engineer and their consultants is provided in the staff report as well. The city also received comments from the Morongo Band of Mission Indians. This was as referenced in a late edition memo that was provided to the Planning Commission today. All their recommended measures have been included in the revised mitigated negative declaration and revised site plan resolution that was provided to the Planning Commission. And the applicant has reviewed these and is accepting of those additional measures to address the Morongo Band of Mission Indian concerns. The applicant has worked with staff throughout this process to provide a site design and elevations that comply with the commercial design guidelines, as well as the development code, which includes various building materials and variations in wall planes and parapet heights that staff supports as condition. Staff's recommendation on the project is as follows: that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, receive testimony regarding the proposed project, and take the following actions. Adopt the attached mitigated negative declaration with a mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the project, including the revisions provided today in the revised mitigated negative declaration, and adopt the resolution number P-22-009, approving site plan case number PLAN 21-00032, subject to the attached conditions of approval and including the revisions provided today in the revised site plan resolution. Staff is available for any comments as needed.
Okay, we'll get comments from commissioners. Let's start with Commissioner Messon.
I didn't see it on the documents that were provided, but are there going to be entry points on both Amethyst Road and Bear Valley Road?
Yes, there will be driveways on both frontages. I believe Bear Valley will have two driveway entries. Amethyst Road will have two driveway entries. Each one of these entry points are going to have, at least one of these entry points will also have pedestrian access.
Mhm.
And then Amethyst Road, Bear Valley Road, and the road on the east of the property will all be public streets as well. So they will have sidewalks surrounding three sides of the site.
Thank you. That's all for me.
Commissioner Cook Askins.
I have no comments.
Commissioner Thomas.
I have some questions, but I don't have them formulated yet. Give me just a second here. Okay, I'm looking at the map here. So it appears that the majors are going to be set back south of Bear Valley. They won't be up towards the front there. They'll be towards the back there. So and your traffic into them. I'm just thinking out loud here. So I don't think I have any questions. I understand what I see. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, I have a couple questions for staff. So the project is actually going to extend Pluto Street. And it will then dead end at the back of the project?
Yes, for the time being, that would be correct. They will be improving that roadway. In the initial discussions on this site over the history of it, I believe that there's alignment. There's a need to align the street and make it public, and I believe there's some utilities in that area as well, or future utilities that are preferred to be in a roadway versus a private driveway.
Okay, and my next question, is there a proposed traffic signal then on Pluto to enter or to, excuse me, on Bear Valley to make a left turn if you're heading west onto the new Pluto?
Not at this time. I do not believe the traffic warrants addressed a need for a signal.
Okay, because there's no left-hand turn lane there. So access will only be from the east, entering the new Pluto.
I believe the traffic study discussed full movements to that intersection. I know there will be medians installed along Bear Valley Road. Ultimately, once the traffic impact analysis has its final approval by the city traffic engineer, that will dictate what's allowed. And again, it will be based on the amount of traffic they anticipate. But I do believe that the traffic study would allow movements at that intersection, even though there would not be a signal.
Okay, that's going to be interesting because I know that area well. It's struggling a little bit. My next question, it looks like the Pluto, when it continues across Bear Valley Road, there's a small area on the east. Is that just going to be a landscaped area because it's part of the site?
That is correct. It will be landscaped. It's included on the landscape plans. Its maintenance will be required by the property owner. At some point in the future, if the property to the east develops and they would look for a lot line adjustment or something of that nature, that would be possible as well. However, in the interim, it will be landscaped in conjunction with development of this property.
Okay. Next question. There's going to be the tenant A and tenant B, and then the rest of the stuff is phased in. Are the buildings going to be built and then list them for lease, or are they going to hold off from constructing the buildings at a later time? Because across the street where the McDonald's is, there is still 2 lots in that little shopping center that have been undeveloped for probably, well, ever since it was built. It had to be 10 years ago. So is that going to be the same for this project?
I'm sorry. Their first phase includes the major A tenant, and then I believe it's the pad 2 tenant at the southeast corner, right on the corner of Amethyst Road in Bear Valley. The shops tenants, the major B tenant, the pad 1 and pad 3 tenants will have development all around them. So they'll have their parking field developed, they'll have landscaping developed, but the pad itself will just be a pad. There will not be a building there. And then pad 4, which would be the southwest corner of Bear Valley and Pluto, which would be the top right of your screen there. That one in phase 2 is essentially the parking field in the pad. And I believe the applicant has proposed this method to ensure that they have flexibility with future tenants.
Okay, and so just so I understand this, so as an example, pad 4, that parking lot area that is around, I know there's a behind the building or to the west side of the building, there's an entrance there to the shopping center. But is the parking lot going to be all built out right there, or are they going to leave part of it empty until they go on with the construction on pad 4?
Based on their proposal, the majority of the parking area will be developed at phase 1, along with all the street improvements and perimeter landscaping as conditioned. It's not included in the slideshow presented on the screen now, but attachment D of the staff report was the phasing plan, and that shows a little clearer layout of their proposal. Essentially, all access points to the site will be proposed in phase 1 to ensure adequate emergency access to all areas of the site. And a large majority of the parking area will be developed with only the pad areas left in some instances, just so the tenant can come in and just build the building.
Okay, well, that corner has been a prime spot. I never could understand why it was empty as long as it has been. But okay, that's all the questions I have. So are we ready for a vote? Mrs. Thomas?
No,
Thompson?
actually, you need to open the public hearing and seek public input if there's any. So could you please open the public hearing?
Okay, let's open the public hearing. Is there anybody out there?
I do not have any participants asking to speak. So you can close the public hearing and bring the item back to the commission for a motion and a second.
Okay, I close public hearing. And let's go for a vote. I
We'll
move to,
invite a motion.
we're ready for a motion, and I'll make a motion to approve the project as written by staff.
A second.
I have a first by Vice Chair Harriman, a second by Commissioner Messin. I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Cook Askins,
Aye.
Commissioner Messin,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Harriman.
Aye.
Motion passes with Chair Kurth being absent.
Okay. We'll move on to item number 6.
Thank you, Vice Chair Harriman. Item number 6 is case PLAN 21-00028. It is a site plan and conditional use permit with a categorical exemption from the California Environmental Quality Act to allow for the development of a 65-foot tall wireless communication facility disguised as a pine tree and associated equipment on property zoned C1, which is our neighborhood services zoning district. This is located west of and abutting Amethyst Road and approximately 640 feet north of Dos Palmas Road. The applicant's requesting this wireless facility due to some outages or low coverage areas in the vicinity. The engineer has submitted propagation maps to show the need for service in the area. A conditional use permit is required by our municipal code for standalone wireless facilities like this. The facility is proposed at 65 feet in height, which does allow for co-location should another carrier decide to locate at the facility. It's surrounded at the base with a block equipment enclosure in compliance with our code. The proposal does occur on vacant, undeveloped land. It does trigger the requirements by our municipal code for street improvements. However, given the fact that this is a low traffic generator and considered a transitional use, we've put findings in there that allows for the suspension and or waiver of those improvements. Also shown in the packet is the ultimate development of the site as a storage facility. We have engaged with some developers that want to develop the site at a future date as storage. That entitlement will come back at a later date. But this facility, this wireless facility, is sited in a manner which will not conflict with the future development of the site. And with that, staff recommends that you proceed as recommended in the staff report, which includes conducting a public hearing, receiving testimony regarding the proposed project, and taking the following action. Find the project categorically exempt per SEQA section 15303, new construction and or conversion of small structures, and adopt resolution number P-22-002, approving the conditional use permit portion of case number PLAN 21-00028, subject to the attached conditions of approval, and adopt resolution number P-22-003, approving the site plan portion of case number PLAN 21-0028, subject to the attached conditions. And staff is available should you have any questions.
Okay, do any of the commissioners have any questions for staff? Start with you, Commissioner Thomas.
No questions, just a comment, and I did understand that there's a need for coverage in that area. I don't like the aesthetics of these type structures. How close is this to residential property? Is that kind of out in the field sitting by itself?
I believe the closest residential is south of Dos Palmas. There is a non-conforming single-family home to the south, as you can see there, with some of the storage that they have around it. But the immediate vicinity is zoned for commercial. So there is some residential, as you can see in this aerial view, to the south and to the east.
Okay, and you said in conjunction with this project, there will be a future project for storage. Are you speaking of the storage units, rental storage units, or is this for storage for equipment for the site?
It would be self-service storage to serve the neighboring residential area. Also, I believe they plan to use reserve some of the site for recreational vehicle storage, similar to proposals in the past. But at this point, we had them show that just to visually picture what can be developed on the site, because they placed the wireless facility somewhat central on the site. That actually gives it a little bit more space from the neighboring properties. But coincidentally, it works well with the proposed development that they're seeking to come back with when they bring that storage facility to you for your review.
Thank you.
Commissioner Messon?
Yes, I wanted to know if the singles household that's the closest in proximity has been notified, or if they will be notified of the potential build.
Yes, as part of this public notification process, all of the properties within 300 feet were notified. I'm sorry, they were notified by mail. So they were sent mailers at least 10 days before this public hearing.
Okay,
As of this time, we have not received any comments for the commission.
thank you.
Commissioner Cook Askins?
No comments.
Okay, I have a couple comments. So that I just so I'm understanding this on the screen, the white bold highlight is the future storage project, and the red dot is the tower. Is that correct?
I don't believe the red dot is represented correctly. So you're correct. The white line that you see there is the border of the entire property that is proposed at a future date as a self-service storage facility, and that will come back to the Planning Commission for review. The area that you see with dash marks and a light white shading is the access route to the tower. But the towers actually would be located at the terminus of that path from Amethyst. And that's where also the equipment shelter would be located. There's if we're able to flip through the slideshow, there's another representation of the overall preliminary site plan of the storage facility. There we go. So as you can see here, this is how potentially the entire site could build out. And that bolded box there in the bottom left-hand corner is where the tower is located, and the storage facility for their equipment for the wireless facility would be located. So that's That would be screened from view with a block wall. And then you have the proposed pine tree, faux pine tree to disguise the antenna, and that's what the applicants proposed. But once the site develops, there'll be a larger perimeter wall that's created by the storage buildings to further screen the site.
Okay, and Scott, just to educate me a little bit, does the tower, of course, I didn't hear whose tower it is, but are they owning that square where the tower exists? Or because I've heard that some of these towers are on private property, like different other businesses, and they pay to have the tower there. Am I misconstruing that?
That's correct. So there is not any proposal to subdivide the property where the wireless facility operator would have their own small individual property. This would be some type of land lease agreement between the property owner and this wireless facility to operate on the site. That's how most cell towers have been set up within the city. It usually starts with a willing property owner that needs to consent to them applying to go through this process to get approvals from the city.
Okay, great. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
And okay, I got to ask again. So do I open it up for public comment?
Yes, you'll open the public hearing.
Okay, so and I will open it to public hearing. Do we have any speakers?
We do not.
All right, then I will close public hearing, public comments, and put it to a vote.
Request a motion in a second.
I'll move that we approve item number 5, item number 6, I'm sorry, as per written.
Do we have a
Commissioner
second?
Thomas, second.
So first by Vice Chair Harriman, a second by Commissioner Thomas. I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Cook Askins,
Aye.
Commissioner Messin,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Harriman.
Aye.
Motion passes with Chair Kurth being absent.
Okay, move to item number 7. And can staff read the recommendation?
Yes, Vice Chair Hammond, would you like me to provide an overview of the staff report?
Yes.
No problem. Agenda item number 7 is case number PLAN 21-0035. It is a site plan and conditional use permit with a categorical exemption to allow for the development of a 70-foot tall wireless communication facility disguised as a pine tree and associated equipment on property zoned R1 single family residential on property is located at 13801 Rodeo Drive, which is an existing religious facility located in a residential zone. The approval requests for a wireless communication facility that's disguised as a pine tree at the fully developed site. The facility's antennas and associated equipment will be located within the faux pine tree, as well as within the masonry equipment shelter at the base of the tower. And this entire facility is located at the rear of the site and is situated behind the plane of existing buildings and existing landscaping, which will help to screen and camouflage proposed facility from public view. Also included in the proposal are upgrades to the site's existing landscaping along the site's frontage, a new trash enclosure, and replacement of existing chain link fence with wrought iron fence, which will aid in reducing visibility of the the facility, and also upgrade the subject site and bring it into conformance with current municipal code requirements. This facility requires a conditional use permit pursuant to Victorville Development Code. Additionally, typically wireless communication facilities located within residential zones are prohibited unless they are shown to close a significant gap in coverage, that there is no feasible alternative locations available, and that the facility is designed in the least intrusive means. Based upon the verified coverage map and gap that was shown by the applicant, as well as the limited commercial development in the vicinity, which provided them limited opportunities to co-locate the subject proposal. Staff finds the proposal is consistent with the requirements of the development code and is allowable at the subject location with the approval of a conditional use permit. Additionally, this site was found to be exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, in as much as the categorical exemptions are allowed for the construction and location of new small facilities or structures, as well as the extension of utilities. Since the California Public Utilities Commission regulates telecommunications facilities, such as this wireless facility, staff considers the proposed wireless communication facility an extension of the wireless network and is therefore exempt from CEQA. Additionally, I would note that due to the location within a residential zone in the vicinity of existing single-family homes and residences, the applicant also provided a noise study and a radio frequency study. And as conditioned, the proposal complies with the requirements of the FCC as it relates to radio frequencies. And the noise generation, as shown in the noise study, would not exceed allowances provided by the municipal code. Therefore, staff recommends that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, receive testimony regarding the proposed project, and take the following actions. Find the project categorically exempt per sequence section 15303, entitled New Construction or Conversion of Small Structures, and adopt resolution number P-22-004, approving the conditional use permit portion of case number PLAN 21-00035, subject to the attached conditions of approval, and adopt resolution number P-22-0005, approving the site plan portion of case number PLAN 21-00035, subject to the attached conditions of approval, and staff remains available for any questions you may have.
Okay, well, I'll open it up to commissioners. Commissioner Thomas.
Just clarification on the radio frequency health issues. I understand that all of that, that there's been clearance and that's okay. I'm just wondering, for a church to have a site like this, is there any issue with that?
Sure, I can field that question. So, yeah, we've been tracking this, throughout my professional career, and we've come across those studies that actually show the harm with these facilities. And it's actually quite common for churches to have wireless facilities at their site, either in like a cross or a church spire. So we haven't come across any studies to show that there's any negative health impacts by having these facilities located there.
Thank you.
Commissioner Messin.
I just wanted to echo what Commissioner Thomas said earlier. I don't find these aesthetically pleasing, especially in a neighborhood. And I just wanted to know if any residents have responded to any notices that have gone out because of the close proximity to the apartments and the houses in the area.
Alex, was there any comments received for this?
I received one phone call from a resident in the neighborhood. Her primary concern was the potential impacts to animals and things that could be impacted by the ground disturbing activities. And then she was also notified of the noise studies and the radio frequency studies and complying with city codes and FCC regulations. And that was sufficient for the property owner that called in.
Thank you.
And to add to your concerns, we share those. But we also, just the lay of the current laws from the federal government down to the state with these type of facilities. They are necessary as residential development increases. There's also a demand for this type of cellular communication, especially data. So we try to balance that. With these applications, we do have them justify the height of the facility. So a lot of times these facilities come in at like 80, 90 feet. And through the propagation studies, we help get them down to a reasonable height. It still gives them the coverage, but doesn't have, even more of an aesthetic impact on the area. So we share in that. I think that we try to find creative ways when possible, like if there's other tall structures in the area that these type of cellular antennas can just attach to. We always steer applicants in that direction. But in some areas of the city, there are gaps of coverage that are legitimate, and there's not an associated structure that's existing that would be a good fit to put these antennas on. So as a last resort, we have to bring forward these type of applications that provide a necessary service for the public, but do have somewhat of an impact. And these developers have chose to disguise them as faux pine trees. That's worked in the past. Alex may have mentioned that there's also trees that will be planted around the area to help further disguise it as they mature.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cook Askins?
Yes, just one question on the wireless tower. That's the only aesthetic design that they have. They don't have other, examples or other designs available other than just a basic tower with nothing?
That is a great question. So in certain circumstances, we have, recommended that a developer come up with a different way to disguise the towers instead of like a faux pine tree. We've had faux eucalyptus trees. I can think of one that's off of Village Drive. We've also had faux water towers, even a faux windmill that's off of Starter Wells Road. So we try to think of ways to disguise it that's appropriate for the area. We'd love to get feedback from the commission if they have preferred ways to disguise these facilities. We've even come to the commission at some point and there would be no disguising the facility. The commission at that time preferred the facility to just remain just a standard utility pole with antennas exposed. So we've seen the full gamut. I know a lot of the commissioners are new. So if there is a preference, we'd like to hear that. And that could help guide future developments or even shape the one that you're reviewing now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Scott, I have a couple questions. Hey, it says so that where the church is actually zoned residential R1?
That is correct. Churches are conditionally permitted in residential districts.
So the rest home right there, I believe that's the Desert Knoll. I can't remember the name of it. Does that fall under residential also?
Yes, with the conditional use permit.
Okay. All right. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you.
So we'll move for a vote.
We'll open the public hearing.
Okay. So we'll open the public hearing. Are there any speakers?
No, there are no speakers at this time. You may close the public hearing and bring the item back to the commission.
Okay, I close the public hearing and public comments and bring it back to commission. Any questions? Any other questions? Okay, so let's go for a vote. We'll start with Commissioner Tompkins.
Motion.
We need a motion and a second.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the item as written by staff.
I, Commissioner Cook Askins, second.
So I have a motion by Vice Chair Harriman, a second by Commissioner Cook Askins. I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Cook Askins,
Aye.
Commissioner Messin,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Harriman.
Aye.
Motion passes with Chair Kurth being absent.
Okay, move on to item 8. And can staff,
Sure. Thank you, Vice Chair Harriman. Item number 8, the author of this is Senior Planner Michael Sarzinski. He's here to provide an overview for you.
Yes, Miss Thompson, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Great, thank you. Yes, Vice Chair and Commissioners, Plan 21037 is a site plan and a conditional use permit with an environmental exemption to allow for an emergency shelter for youth consisting of 7 detached buildings, a new restroom facility, and the expansion of existing community building on a property zone mixed use retail. And that's within the Old Town specific plan located at 16857 C Street. And that is the main building you see on the screen right now. The youth emergency shelter will target homeless youth between the ages of 16 and 21, but the facility will also serve any youth under the age of 25. The project will also include interim housing, sleeping units, support services and meals, as well as an expanded existing youth drop-in center that has provided youth services at the site since 2017 in that building you see there. The youth emergency shelter will also be located within the expanded front main building and contain 4 bedrooms with a total of 10 beds. It's actually 20 beds that we learned after the staff report. That's 10 bunk beds altogether. And the sleeping units for interim housing called the Tiny Home Village, which you see there, will be located at the upper rear of the site and contains 7 duplexes, totaling 14 bedrooms. And in all, the facility will have a capacity to house 34 homeless youth. And again, your numbers showed 24, and we learned there was 10 additional youth. Why staff in general supports the use and concept of the project. As you can see from the memo you received today, you should have received, there are some site issues as well as some serious operational concerns, and not to mention the number of added use to be housed, as well as the public opposition you received in the 4 letters. And I believe we may have received one late one this evening. With that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, receive testimony regarding the proposed project, and importantly, require the applicant to submit a detailed operation plan for the commission to review when this item returns to a public hearing. Continue the project to April 13th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting and leave the item open. And staff is available for any questions, myself and Mr. Webb. Thank you.
okay, commissioners, or questions? Commissioner Thomas?
The additional housing units, I'm assuming, are going to be built. They're not in existence now, but this is a plan to actually add units to that site. Am I correct?
Yeah, right now, Commissioner, there's no units at the site. It's just the main building in the front. Know if we can bring up the site plan. There will be an addition to the main building, which will include the 10 bunk beds for 20 youth at the emergency shelter there. And you'll see in the back there is the tiny home village with, at the rear of the site. It's kind of on an upper elevated location of the site. And that will contain a total of 7 new houses, totaling 14 beds and a restroom facility.
Will this work in conjunction or in coordination in any way with the wellness center that's planned in future?
Not necessarily in conjunction, but it will help with the overall situation of homelessness and specifically targeting this age cohort or youth population.
Yes, and if I could add to that, there was a condition that was placed on this conditional use permit that would require the operator to regularly report to the city, so we can have a better understanding of their occupancy and how they're operating. Our goal is, to help lead the front of addressing homelessness and making sure that there's a coordinated effort. So yes, it's like Senior Planner Michael Sarzinski said, it doesn't run, it's not affiliated with the city's operations at the interim shelter or the Planned Wellness Center, but we hope to coordinate with this facility if approved. I'd like to just add to what Michael Sarzinski gave in his briefing. We try to bring projects forward. Unfortunately, we are requesting the item to be continued. We try our best to bring forward the information and the best that we know at the time. But this has evolved over the last couple of weeks. There's been some new information about the project that's been shared with us that wasn't divulged prior. So it requires us to do a further analysis to fully support the project and make sure it's appropriately conditioned. So sorry, I kind of ran on there, but we're available if you have other questions.
Okay, Commissioner Messin.
So I just want to understand exactly where the expansion will be, because from the location, from what I know, is that it's the main building, the outside court and playground, and then right next to that, there's an electricity site. So where is the expansion going to be exactly? Because I'm a little confused as to where it's going to be, because there's also an alley, and then there's the buildings that are closer to 7th Street.
Sure.
So is it going to be on the other side of C or further down? I just wanted to have clarification on that.
Yeah, Commissioner, the building is at the corner of C and 6th right now. The addition will expand on that building. If you work your way up towards the SC substation to the south, that's where the tiny home village will be. So that existing playground will be between the main building with the expansion. And then you'll go with the playground, and above that will be the tiny home village with the 7 homes and the restroom. The alley would be to the east, adjacent to the restroom building, and 6th Street would be to the west.
Yeah, to further give you a visual, if we could bring up the site plan again. So as you can see there, C Street's kind of on the right hand of this plan, and you can see the alley on the bottom of your screen. The 6th Street's on the northern end. The gray shaded boxes that you see on the screen here are the building addition and or detached structures. What the applicant's calling the tiny home village is actually the detached structures on the left side of your screen. And then the beds that would be located inside the main building is that northern building expansion that you see there, just north of the existing FAM spot.
Or west, just west.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cook Askins.
Yes. First question is, does the planned wellness center cover youth, or is that just for adults?
The Planned Wellness Center plans to do any adults 18 or older. It also includes families. It's not designed to cater to youth, but it does accommodate for families, for transitional age use such as this. But we are looking at mainly for adults over 18 and or adults that have children that would enter the facility as a family.
Sure. And then my second question kind of piggybacks on that one. Could the wellness center, be changed to include youth?
Yes, I mean there's no limitation on that. It's just not what was discussed thus far.
Sure.
But if that's, we could definitely roll that in as part of further discussions with the potential lead operator as we finalize construction.
All right, that answered my questions. Thank you.
Okay, I have a few questions, of course. Sorry about that. So who's going to own this place, Scott? Is the city building it? I don't understand. Could you explain that to me?
So similar, we have other shelters. What comes to mind is the High Desert Homeless Services. They have a shelter that's on Amargosa Road next to Legends Barbell. That's been operating in the city for some time now. That's a private entity. What you're seeing here, this proposal is coming from a private entity, which is a family assistance program. So this would be run as a private operation. What's before you is a request to approve a site plan and a conditional use permit. The conditional use permit gives the city the authority to ensure that this operation does not have a negative impact on the surrounding properties. So that's the main reason why we need, or staff's requesting a continuance of this, is to sort through some of the comments and some of the new information that the applicant provided, so we can bring back this item for Planning Commission to review and the public to have a full understanding of what the project entails.
Okay. Now, isn't the old theater right across the street on C?
It is.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I guess my questions probably will work next time we bring this up. So do I open this to public comment?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I see.
You're gonna open the
Okay.
public hearing and then you'll leave it open. At the end, you will not close it.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Let's open the public comment.
Our first speaker is Sir Duplichan.
Good evening. My name is Sir Duplichan, and I'm a community organizer here in the High Desert. I lend my time, energy, and efforts every day to improving our community. And I just want to say that we need this tiny home project, especially in downtown, because it's not a shelter in a traditional sense. That's kind of an impression that I was kind of getting from what was being said. It's more like diverse property types, kind of like what's encouraged from the San Bernardino Countywide Vision, to have different types of housing. And that's kind of like what this is. I have 3 daughters, one that's 19, one that's 22, and one that's 23. And none of them can afford to live here in Victorville. And the difference is between these kids is my kids can come back to dad's house, but these kids don't have a dad that they can go to. So that's why we need this type of alternative housing in the high desert. And because I'm a community organizer, I'm well aware of the future plans that the city has for downtown. And I just can imagine, families walking down the street, because one day downtown is going to be really walkable. We're going to have shops down there. We're going to have all kind of amenities. We're going to have restaurants. But just imagine if you felt comfortable enough to say, the kids are just going to go over to the kids area. This will be a whole section of that area that's made predominantly for kids, where they have the park there, the basketball courts, they have arts and crafts, they have all kind of different amenities for our kids to indulge in, while the parents enjoy the restaurants and the other things that are coming in the future of our downtown area. It's kind of like the same thing that they did in Lancaster, where they improved the entire downtown area to be walkable, and they catered it towards the youth. That's going to give this area just a type of vibrance that's going to make it successful. And also, I like just to say hello, because I work with many of you on many projects, and I want to make myself available to you. If anyone wants to sit down and talk about this further, I'll make myself available, and we can go over the details of this project, and I can explain it in much more detail than we have time for right now. So I thank you again for your time, and it was great seeing you. Congratulations, Bill, on your appointment. I look forward to talking to you all soon.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Stephanie Pizarrin.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Planning Commission members, my name is Stephanie Vida Basarin, and I'm speaking here to you all today as not just an 8-year resident of Victorville, but also as the project manager of this development. I'm here to say that I support staff's decision to move this conversation along. We do have a more detailed operational plan developed that we have submitted to funders, and we're happy to share that with staff and Planning Commission. We do ask that this be shared with you at the March meeting rather than the April meeting. Before I move on, I do want to clarify to Planning Commission the intent of this project. This project really is to add value to the overall neighborhood by creating a safe place with the needed resources for our transitional age youth and our young adults to thrive. This is not a homeless shelter in the traditional sense, as was stated earlier. As you know, we currently have one. We have the family shelter that Jimmy Waldron operates, and thanks to Cassandra and Scott's efforts, we'll have the wellness center. We understand that. This is a hub for transitional age youth that will serve a very specific and unique population, our local population. As you all know, this transitional age youth time is a very special time in a young person's life. It is a time when you truly learn how to become an adult. Unfortunately, many of our local youth do not have the structure, the rules, the resources, or the home to fully be embedded in that transition process from going to being a child to an adult. And so that is what we are here to offer in this hub. It's a microorganism that's meant to work collectively. We intend to work with the coordinated entry system, as the Wellness Center does, to ensure that there is a process in place for the local youth. We will also work with Elaine, who currently serves the homeless youth at Victor Valley College, who presently has a waiting list of 15 college-age youth living in their vehicles. These are youth that currently could benefit from this hub so that they can better be in their student and economic development. These college youth on this hub are the prime type of candidates in our living areas. They would not only benefit from the project, but the neighborhood itself would benefit from them. They would be shoppers, they would be mentors for our local Old Town Victorville youth, and they would be our future entrepreneurs. As I keep saying, this is a hub that is meant to work intentionally, not just with the local resources that we have, the resources the city of Victorville is bringing. My time's up.
Almost.
Okay, it said my mic went out. This is meant to be work as a resource that works collectively with the resources that we have, with the resources the city of Victorville is bringing, and of course the growth and economic development. On a personal level, I'm available for anyone to contact me. I am the program coordinator.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jasmine Bass.
Hi.
Hello.
Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Jasmine Bass, and I recently just closed on my escrow on the old theater. And I am representing Historical Auditorium LLC, which is the theater. The name itself will give away our vision in trying to get this very historic theater serving the community once again. It is strategically located near another historical place, the Pride of Victorville, and the city is trying to revitalize to attract more foot traffic and business. The theater is also near and blocks away from a school, which is central in our plans to attract kids in the neighborhood and their families towards the development of this area in 7th Street and C Street. Now, we all want to help the homeless, or, like what the previous speaker said, the youth, especially if it gets them proper housing and a better opportunity to regain their sense of purpose and contribute to the community. My concern is only that the location is going to be contradictory to the vision as outlined in the city's plan for the area. That vision of engaging and building a space where citizens of Victorville can go and take pride knowing that it is full of life once again, families, and more importantly, an area that was once a forgotten one is again going to put their beloved city as a potential attraction for travelers going to Las Vegas. Small village projects are also sometimes a magnet for crime, and it being in proximity with these targeted goals, these are all contradictory to what the city has, planned and what we are trying to tell our investors in trying to get, all of these properties developed once again. That's all what I have to say.
Our next speaker is Vanjie.
Hi. You can hear me. This is Vanjie Kayaba. Okay. And I am representing on behalf of Victor Valley LLC organization located at 15564 7th Street. So we bought this property last May, 2021, in the hope to help the Victorville to be again revitalized. It is in this goal that when you said the old town specific plan area it would be a distinct place in the region that would attract people, activities, and commerce in that area. And so we thought, we as business owners from Los Angeles area, that this would be good for us to have that Route 66 revitalized, that 7th Street revitalized, that business would be again in bloom. We have the capacity to invite the investors, to our friends in Los Angeles, to come in. But with this new proposal now of having this tiny village, it would run contrary to the specific plan, because it will chase away our investors. Imagine, how can our friends, visitors come, do at 7th Street, 6th Street to walk around, and then there will be seeing this tiny village. There might be, as you said, about 18 to 24 years old, and it would be transition. But you know, as in LA area, crime rate is on those ages because they are want something, you know. So we hope that you would understand that we are not opposing to have that tiny village, but please, can we not do something to relocate them, not on this area where we are trying to revitalize the area. And in fact, we are doing more plans. In fact, the building which we have is just a one story, but we are envisioning to have second floors and third floors, and it will be something like a beautiful place where there will be people
time
to
is
come
up.
work and place. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Brendan.
Hello, this is Brendan O'Brien. I'm also a participating investor with the Victor Valley LLC, also an individual investor. A couple things. First off, I love the project. I love the concept. I love the concept. I think Sir Dupleshan, I think what you said is absolutely right on. Here's the rub. The rub is that although the concept is perfect and beautiful, it just happens to be right in the backyard of Route 66, which is the crown jewel of Victorville. And it's going to distract a lot of the redevelopment and revitalization that is in motion. I think about a year ago, there wasn't any, it looked like there may not have been any hope. And I think that's when this whole thing may have been started. So I get that. So we'd love, if it's an option, we'd love to sit down with everyone and find some, maybe another piece, another parcel, another piece of property that we could help. You know, we would even love to help move this project. Fortunately, Victorville does not suffer from one of the biggest problems that most communities suffer from, and that is land. Victorville has an abundance of land, as we know. A couple of things pertaining to the permitting. I just want to bring out that the name is a little bit misleading. It says tiny village, but there's a lot of contradictions on expansion. I think they brought out a couple minutes ago that one part of the document says there's 10 beds, then it's gonna be 20 beds, and it's gonna be 24 beds. It also talks about 7 units being built, and then it talks about 14 buildings being built. So there are some contradictions with inherently built into the proposal itself. I think that there's also, I think the CEQA discussion is questionable as well. It's talking item A in the CEQA. It says it is inaccurate to suggest that the proposed resolution is in compliance with the general plan and policies within the general plan. Reading through the general plan, I don't know if I agree with that. I think there's some challenges to that. There's also huge discrepancies and challenges to the specific plan itself. The objective 1 states that the primary objective corresponding policies that are highlighted in the specific plan state that the main objective is to protect existing development from intrusion by new incompatible land uses. Number 2 is economic development. Support Victorville as a major regional center for business and commerce. 2.1 it continues to talk about economic revitalization. This village idea, as great as it is, will undermine those efforts. I think that the social calculus just doesn't add up. I think if we look at section Title 16, There also may be discrepancies with
Your time is up.
requirements between churches. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Laila Aquino.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I guess I can start my camera. I can't, I don't see myself, so, or if I'm being heard by anybody. Anyway, if I may, you know, I was a little bit, we just got a notice like last Friday, and this is, we are completely, you know, in agreement with trying to help the homelessness. And we actually just had a meeting with a curbside and how to help the homeless. Unfortunately, this is diametrically opposed to the economic vision of Victorville. We saw a vision in the Victorville that nobody had saw and left the Victorville downtown all vandalized and boarded up for how many years. And with all due respect with Mr. Duplichan, as a community organizers, they could have prevented that from happening by helping the homeless and not let the 7th Street be dilapidated like that. You know, we don't need to have this homeless when it's easy to just bring the homeless to the shelter and help them out. And this is, you know, I'm getting a hit with the people that I'm having to invest over there, business owners. And unfortunately, with things like this, it doesn't go in one place. It's either we have to decide if we're going to revitalize the 7th Street and help the economic activity to elevate the quality of life people around that area. And just like Brendan said, there are a lot of places, and it's a private entity where we can put this good social concept that we have. We can combine the youth. They're not youth. The 25 years old are not youth. And I hope we're not going to change the youth now to 30 and 40 years old or 25 years old. They're men. And that's all we're asking. I mean, we are requesting the Victorville community. Do you want to see that place to be like that forever? Nobody dared. And we dared. We put our money. In 1 year, we acquired 7 properties, including the theater. In that property to bring a theater stage, a place for Victorville to watch concert and school. So I think it's the city of Victorville that can decide on what they want. Or can we just keep that shelter, the $20 million shelter, and accommodate the youth over there and have an accommodation since that, but this is a private entity. You know, they could have bought a property somewhere that they understand how to revitalize the town. Nobody did it in the last a decade.
Our next speaker is Michael Grabhorn. Mr. Grabhorn, your connection is bad. Mr. Grabhorn, can you retry your connection and we can come back to you?
I hear you.
Mr. Grabhorn, I can't hear you, so we're going to go ahead and try somebody else. If you could try and fix your connection, we'll come back to you. Our next speaker is Paul Marsh.
Good evening, commissioners. The idea of tiny homes, to service anybody that's homeless, to me, that's a good idea. But what I would hope that the city and the commission would think on is keeping it more centralized. We already have a huge project going up that's going to, benefit. It's going to give wraparound services and accommodations to the homeless population and get them more mainstream back into the community. Maybe we can do something, keep everything centralized in that area instead of spreading everything out all throughout the downtown area. What I would caution the city is that, indirectly, we're creating an image in that area. People are starting to see it. It's looking, it's already been known as being dilapidated and, homeless and drugs and everything else you can think of. But, the creation that I see that we're kind of indirectly, moving towards is that's going to be the site throughout the downtown area for homeless people, for anything that we don't want, it's going to be in that area. So, again, I just hope that, we can maybe relook at that project. It's a good project, I support it, but maybe look at centralizing it in an area that's already created for that type of work or whatnot. That's all I have. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Sarge.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay.
Hello.
All right. Yes, I'm Sarge from Towards of Eden LLC and Towards of Eden Foundation. I'm a business owner here at downtown here on 7th and C. Actually, from my cameras, from my door, I can see the fam spot and where this proposal would be going up. Now, since I've been here, I've had many of my loyal customers from our old location that has called me on several different occasions and have told me that they've come down to our new facility, but didn't feel safe once they saw the youth hanging around here. So they took their business elsewhere. On December 2nd of 2021, I caught 3 youth on my front camera kicking my front window in until they broke it. The youth are right here from the fam spot, smoking marijuana on the street, breaking the glass, and I'm the one that goes out and have to clean streets up. I clean up the streets over at the theater behind the fam spot. Here on January 26th, just a couple of weeks ago, at approximately 3:17, there was 5 youths there at the fam spot on the basketball court that attacked a homeless lady who was sitting on the benches on the basketball court, where they punched and kicked her. Now, I say all of that to say this: there's no lights. For right now, what they have, there's no lights out there. The gates open 24/7. The youths are left unattended. And so then they find themselves attacking the homeless adults out here as well. Now, as a business owner, I've lost over 60% of my clients since I moved to this place. But yet, as a Marine, I do believe in taking back our streets one block at a time. So I work along with the Inroads program, the code enforcement, with Deputy Mike Catalano. So I do go above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to the homeless youth. I do believe in the concept, as other speakers have spoken. I do believe in the concept, but yet just not here in our backyard. We've also hired several homeless young men and that works for us. So I do believe in giving you a hand up, but never a hand out. So this is a good idea, but can't we just do something about finding another location and let's revitalize Route 66 Old Town and bring some life back down here and take these boards off these buildings. That's more income, more jobs, and families can actually get out and enjoy themselves. COVID is over. Let's let the kids be kids where everyone feels safe. Let's have business and bring some life back down here.
Your time is up.
Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is telephone number ending in 6847. Are you with us? Telephone number ending in 6847. The individual is not responding at this time, is not unmuting. Are you there? Speaker ending in 6847. I see you're unmuted now. Hello? Let's move on to our next speaker. His name is Hetty.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Hedy. When we decided to move our company from West Covina to Victorville, we had great expectations. We were told that the city had a master plan to rebuild and revitalize the commercial area in what is referred to as Old Town, and we bought the building at the corner of 7th Street and C Street 2 months ago. Since then, we had been working every day to build our business in the city of Victorville. In fact, we decided to go all in, and we bought a house in Victorville as well. We closed on the house 2 weeks ago and moved in last week. Many of the businesses on 7th Street are still boarded up. In coordination with Victor Valley LLC and a few others investors, we have been trying to revitalize the area, and thank goodness we had charge to help us to navigate and how to work the local residents. This has truly been difficult. The minute you turn your back, something disappears. However, I need to make sure I empathize how much we appreciate the code enforcement team. They have gone above and beyond to help us protect the buildings and secure our property. We were ecstatic to hear that the wellness center was approved, and it gave us hope to know that the city was executing on their plan to take care of the homeless population. We understand the magnitude of the situation. We are in the epicenter every day. With that said, it does not make any sense whatsoever to build a quasi-correction facility for youth in the heart of Old Town. The proposed development is literally 20 feet behind my building, and this project would bankrupt my business. We were presented with the opportunity to purchase our buildings by a group of investors who shared a vision of a revitalized Old Town Route 66. We were drawn to the area because of potential opportunities for growth and have been impressed with every one of the city representatives we have been in contact with. We understand the city is under pressure to increase the number of housing and shelters for the homeless. With the passing of California Senate Bill SB 2, we also understand that there is pressure to remove zoning barriers for shelters. Fortunately, one problem Victorville does not have is a lack of land. There must be areas zoned residential or commercial, or even mixed use that would not undermine the development of the city's crown jewel, Old Town Route 66. Please know I have first-hand experience working, rehabilitating troubled youth with continued volunteering my time and resources to help people of all ages. However, the statistics are stunning and irrefutable. According to the recent FBI report on crime, the peak age group of crime like robbery, burglary, rape, assault, battery are below the age of 25. In fact, according to published crime statistics, the highest crime rate in the US is committed in the age of 18 to 24 age group. The second highest is 12 to 17 age group. These are two age groups the proposed village will house, which is the same area the Old Town specific plan has vowed to revitalize. Both goals are worthy endeavors. However, they are diametrically opposed to each other.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
I do see the speaker with telephone number in 6847. back in so we can try to see if they would like to speak at this time. Phone number ending in 6847. If you want to speak, we're asking you to unmute. We're getting no response, so I have no additional speakers at this time.
Okay. So I guess we'll go bring it back to the commission. Do you have some more comments from the commission? Commissioner Thomas?
I have listened to all the comments that came in earlier, and I'm in agreement about the location maybe being not really conducive to what we're trying, especially in view of the fact that we're trying to revitalize that area. I know that there's a dire need for this type of facility. However, I'm just not so sure that that's the right place for it. And that's all I have.
Commissioner Messin?
I actually had a question. I wanted to know if we can also provide questions to the agency to provide in the detailed operation plan if that's what we choose to go with. I had a few concerns about I know it's mentioned that there's going to be nightly walks hourly. I just want some clarification if that's going to be from 8 to 8 when the facility's closed. And then if the design can provide a little bit more detailed, because it shows that there's going to be a bed, a desk, a chair, a dresser, and a locker in some of the rooms, but the design that's provided looks like it only provides the 2 beds and the 2 dressers or desks. And then at the restroom building, I'm a little confused about that as well in the letter that's provided, because it states that some restrooms will have showers, some will not. And if they're not going to be inside the actual bed location, if they're going to be walking to the showers, and I think that's concerning if it's an open area and we have both mixed genders. So if I can also just get some information on that, if that hasn't been asked in the detailed operation plan, if that's what the commission chooses to do.
Yes, thank you for those concerns, Commissioner Messin. Yes, the city can provide additional information if this item is continued. I can at this point tell you that the detached units that are on the south end of the facility do not have restrooms inside the building. They would have to walk to an outside location. I'd also like to clarify, one of the commenters was mentioning that this is a alternative housing and not considered an emergency shelter. We have to make a distinction of what type of housing this is, and pursuant to our municipal code and the specific plan, we have to categorize this facility as an emergency shelter, because these tiny homes are not independent units. So similar to what you were questioning, these do not have cooking facilities, restroom in each of the units. As you recall, in an earlier meeting, just about within the last 6 months, the commission recommended a code amendment to allow for efficiency units within Old Town. That goes down to a minimum of 320 square feet. These tiny home sleeping units are smaller than that square footage. So we cannot, pursuant to our municipal code and specific plan, consider these independent housing units. Therefore, the entire facility falls under a conditional use permit, which is at the discretion of the planning commission.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cook Askins.
Yes, thank you, Vice Chairman. I'd like to first off thank all the community members for coming online this evening and for the comments that were submitted in writing. I would certainly like to see the applicants and the city work to resolve some of the discrepancies that came out later this afternoon. But I certainly think that, this is something needed for the youth, but we may be able to work through this to continue this to the April meeting.
Are those all your is that all, Mr. Cook Askins?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. I have some comments. So anyways, I'd like to thank the speakers also. I love to see community involvement, and especially down there where we need to get it revitalized. One of the commenters stated that it wasn't for the homeless and that there are, she knows of college students who live in their cars. That sounds homeless to me. I also like the project and I agree with its purpose. I just don't think that is the location for it. The old theater is there and I've been dying for somebody to replenish the theater and bring it back to life. I think that would be great. I think that this type of thing located in that location is going to spook investors, and that's what we're looking for today in Victorville. We want some people to take the gamble, I guess you could call it, and invest some money in our downtown Route 66 and revitalize the area. I have a question, Scott. What is the zoning right there? Is it commercial? Is it, what is it zoned as we speak?
It is a mixed use of retail land use designation within the Old Town specific plan.
Okay, so those are my comments, and I will close the.
If I could, Vice Chair Harriman, what staff is now recommending, which is different than what's on the posted agenda, is that now that you've opened the public hearing to receive testimony and you've given feedback, we're requesting that you require the applicant to submit a detailed operational plan for the commission's review when this item returns at a future meeting, and continue this item to the April 13th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting. I would like to point out that the applicant did request a continuance as well, but they are requesting a continuance to March 9th. So that is for the commission's consideration as well.
Okay. So I guess we're ready for a vote. And I will move to, actually, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing this right. Can I have some guidance, Ms. Thompson?
Sure. Would you like to move staff's revised recommendation?
I, Commissioner Thomas, would like to move staff's recommendation.
Commissioner Cook asking second.
And that is to approve staff's revised recommendation.
That is correct.
Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Thomas to approve staff's revised recommendation and a second by Commissioner Cook Askins. I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Cook Askins,
Aye.
Commissioner Messon,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Harriman.
Nay.
Motion passes with Chair Kurth being absent and Vice Chair Harriman voting no.
Okay, I guess we move to number 9. Item number 9 is new business. And I take that to the staff.
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Harriman. As you recall, at our January regular meeting, Commissioner Cook Askins requested a summary of the Planning Commission's actions from the prior year. The rest of the commission concurred with his request, and so we bringing back this information to share with you. As you can see in the attachment to the staff report, we broke down the actions by commercial, industrial, residential, and some amendments that were recommended by the Planning Commission last year. And so we had over 300,000 square feet the Planning Commission approved in commercial development, almost 2 million square feet in industrial, and over 500 residential housing units were entitled last year. And we're available should you have any questions.
Commissioner Cook Askins here. I'm really appreciative of this. This really gives a good outline of what the commission accomplished for 2021. It's very comprehensive. I really like the breakdown with the different sections: commercial, industrial, residential, and amendments. And I hope that we can possibly do this each year, just give an overview. That's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Thomas?
I concur with Commissioner Cook Askins. I think you've done a good job with that, and it does give us an idea of things, a good idea of the things that we've accomplished this past year, and hopefully we can be as productive or more productive this coming year. I want to thank staff for all the prep and so forth that you've done. When we look at our packages, everything is there. So I really do appreciate that. Thank you.
Commissioner Messon.
I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight that spoke on the agenda items, and staff for putting everything together. I know it was a very large agenda with many, many documents. So thank you for all the work you put into that.
Okay, I also want to thank staff. All the hard work. There's a lot happening in Victorville, and it's great to see. And it looks like the city is just exploding with business. And I'm really confident that that's going to take us to a new level here in Victorville. So I think our city planner and the assistant city planners are doing a great job. And that's all I have. So then do I move to presentation of reports by commission members and staff?
Yes, that last item was just for information. So yes, you can move on.
Okay. We can move on, I guess. Any report from staff?
I have none to report today. Thank you for the confidence, and we can accommodate that request in future years. So when we bring forward in January the appointments to chair and vice chair, we'll make it just a standard practice to bring forward a summary of the prior year's actions.
Okay, now I'm sorry, you guys, for being so inexperienced at running the meeting. Now, do I call for the commissioners if they want to speak on putting something on the next agenda?
Yes, if you're still on the presentations or reports for commissioners, yeah, you could ask them again. I believe some of the commissioners started providing their comments during the last item, but you should check again.
Okay, so it's okay to ask for more comments?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, any more comments, commissioners? Mr. Thomas?
Yes, this is Commissioner Thomas. Let me say that I'm very excited about the activity going on around Victorville. A lot of building, and as I have friends that visit the area, they're just not recognizing some areas because there's so much activity going on. So again, thanks to staff for all of the good work, and some of the projects I see coming to fruition are really very nice projects, and I think that we should be proud of what's being accomplished here. Thank you again.
Commissioner Cook Askins?
I just once again thank you to Mr. Webb and all the planning division staff for all their hard work, and also thank you to all the community members that were on this evening. It's really nice to hear from the community. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Messon?
I have no additional comments.
Okay, I have a couple things. If we could get Mr. Gangler to look into the street Shooting Star in Victorville has been used lately as a racing track or a drag strip, should I say. And that has become a heavily traveled street, and I think it needs a double yellow line. If maybe he could do one of his traffic studies or monitor how much traffic is on that street, I think that would be a good thing to look into. And I promise if I do this again, I'll get better at it. I apologize. I'm a rookie. So with that, I guess the meeting is adjourned. Unless Mr. Gangler wants to talk.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Vice Commissioner Harriman. Yeah, certainly we can evaluate that, and we can provide a report on our study.
Okay, sorry about that, Brian. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.